Heather here, and today I'm just gonna sit down and talk with you, friend to friend, about what it was like coming back to America. That's probably the question that I get asked the most. We lived in Southeast Asia for 3 years, and we are back in America now, and we plan on going back again to Southeast Asia in about a year from now, next summer. And so we're just gonna chat, enjoy one of the last days of summer. At least if you live in the north like we do, it's already starting to get chilly out. And so grab your coffee. I've got a baby here. I've got a sleeping toddler here. And of course, we can't live without our pumpkin coffee. So grab your coffee, sit down, and let's chat about what it was like. So in Asia, our house, right before we left, actually it might have been like 5 or 6 months even before we left, our house got infested with fire ants. And when I say infested, I mean like they were in my bed. They were in our food. They were everywhere. And so when we came back to America, I was really ready. I was halfway through my pregnancy. Where we lived in Asia, there wasn't really comfortable furniture or anything. And so it was all hard concrete floor with tile on top, hardwood furniture, and just the aches and pains and different things of pregnancy. I was ready to be home. This home. We kind of have 2 homes now. And so I was ready to come back, but I still had quite a few different culture shocks, and I'm going to share them with you. So one big culture shock coming back to America was not having to stockpile things. So where we lived was very remote, and so we couldn't really get a lot of things. There was a lot of different food products and different things that we just didn't have access to. And so we would drive twice a year into Thailand. And whenever we went into Thailand, we would go to the grocery store and we would stockpile. So anything that we wanted that was like a Western thing, we would stockpile. And it would all be expired because it was imported and been sitting on the shelves forever. And then we would stockpile and buy like 10 of them, and we would save them and cherish them to use throughout the next 6 months that we weren't going to have access to it again. And we would stockpile. So when we got back to America, one of the very first things we did was go to Target. So we went to Target and we're like, oh, look, there's honey grams. Okay, we need 4 boxes and peanut butter. Okay, let's get 10 jars. And we're like filling and filling and filling carts. And then we randomly look at each other and we're like, we can come back here whenever we want. We don't have to stockpile. We can come back here. We can get stuff whenever we want. It has not been very good for our pocketbook, but it's been good for my stomach. So in America, even if you live out in the country, you still can go and get pretty much anything you need without having to go too far. And it really is a blessing and something to not take for granted, because there are many people all across the world who don't have access to things. And we have access to things from all across the world, which is really a rather unique thing. The rest of the world, for the most part, some countries do, but for the most part, the rest of the world doesn't have that. They don't have access to Asian food and Indian food and Middle Eastern food and Italian food, and wherever you want to eat, there's a place. The rest of the world doesn't live like that. A lot of countries just have their food, and maybe if you go into the city, you'll find a few more restaurants, but it's not like the smorgasbord that we get here in America. And I have no idea if I pronounced that word correctly, but we really are blessed here in America, and it's important to take note of that. Culture shock number 2, as I talked about being pregnant and how uncomfortable our home was in Southeast Asia, culture shock number 2 was a couch. Yeah. And carpet. And my feet stopped hurting, which was amazing. I was starting to get so many feet problems in Asia because everything is hard floor, hard floor, hard floor, and it's hot, and you have to take your shoes off every time you go inside a building. So take your shoes off at the door and everywhere you go. And so you're barefoot half the time, if not more, and barefoot on hard. And even when you're not barefoot, you're still wearing flip-flops that have no support. And so walking on carpet and sitting on a couch was kind of shocking. I did experience that sometimes, but not in our house for sure. And I don't know, it was just shocking to have that. And our daughter, who was not quite 2 years old yet, she was running through the house on every surface that had carpet, and then there's 2 couches. She would run from this couch, sit on it for a second, and then jump down and run across the carpet to the other couch and sit on it for a second, and jump down and run across the carpet to the other couch and sit on it for a second. She was eating it up. And so it was really cool to see that and just recognize, that once again, America, you are blessed. So that was culture shock number 2. Culture shock number 3 was makeup. I didn't really feel the pressure to do my hair and makeup every day. I guess just living in their culture, and especially where, it's 100 degrees out on a nice day, sweating so much, you just don't really wear makeup as much. But I always tried to wear concealer when I was in Asia. And so coming to America, I went and I bought makeup at a drugstore, and I came home and I put it on, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm putting it on and I'm like, it's not doing anything. Why isn't it doing anything? So then I put a whole nother coat on, and now I'm pretty caked in makeup at this point. And I'm like, I still don't understand why it's not doing anything. And so then I put a whole nother coat on, and I'm like, what is happening? I can see that I've got so much makeup on my face, but my skin color is still the same. Why does the makeup match my skin color? I had become so unused to my skin matching that I forgot that's what it's supposed to do. And then I was seriously sitting there trying to figure out for a good 10 to 15 minutes before it finally dawned on me. This is what makeup's supposed to do. It's supposed to match your skin tone, just cover up the dark circles. That's what it's for. And I was like, oh, because in Asia, they don't have my skin tone. And so I was like, it was a really weird, culture shock experience where I was remembering, American life or whatever, remembering how to put on makeup and remembering it's not supposed to actually change the way you look. It's just supposed to help. And, so that was super interesting. Culture shock number 4 has a lot of pluses to it, but a few minuses. And that's how clean everything is. It's amazing how clean everything is. And it's a super big blessing to be able to walk around and not get covered in dirt like that. It's pretty nice. But the things that were a little shocking about it, or maybe a negative, as a mom in Asia, I could lay down my kid absolutely anywhere and change their diaper. I had a changing pad or whatever that you carry in your purse, but I could change their table anyway. I could change their diaper on a table and nobody would blink an eye. I think we were in Mall of America, and I had my almost 2-year-old, and I was changing her diaper, and we're in on the corner. I'm trying to be discreet. I was trying really hard to figure out why I had not seen anybody changing a diaper since coming back to America. We'd been in America for a few days now, and I never saw anyone changing a diaper, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I'm changing her diaper in a hallway in the Mall of America, and I'm getting dirty looks, and I'm like, I don't understand why people are giving me dirty looks. I don't understand what is wrong here. And then finally someone said to me, they have changing tables in the bathroom, right? And was really attitudinal about it. But it was such a big help to me that I actually thanked her, because I was like, I forgot about changing tables. Whoa, earth shattering. Oh my gosh, there's changing tables in America. That's right. I gotta take my kid to the bathroom and change them. And so I started doing that and stopped getting dirty looks. That's good. But but it is a little bit inconvenient when we have two babies and we're, like trying to hit the road and we can't because they got to change their diapers, and we're like, okay, let's try and find a changing table, and then we're in this random restaurant or this random gas station, and there's no changing table. And then we're like, well, what do people do? And so we've got the whole changing pad on the floor in the bathroom, which I just feel kind of icky about. I don't want to be like on my knees on the floor in the bathroom. So yeah, that's so that's kind of a negative for me on that. I would prefer to be able to change my baby just anywhere. So that was another big shocker to us. Coming back with a toddler, our daughter stopped eating food for almost an entire month. She did not eat any food. She would only eat snacks. So she would eat chips and, ice cream. But to actually get her to try and eat any food like chicken or a vegetable or anything, she wouldn't eat any of it. And we reached out to a doctor and they were like, she's a toddler. This is what they do. She just went through a big transition. Just have grace. She's fine. Don't worry about her health. She's okay. Just let her be. This is the one thing in her life she can control. Let her control it. Her entire life just changed dramatically. Let her control the one thing she can. And so we did. And we're blessed she liked Pediasure. So we gave her Pediasure, and the doctor said as long as she's getting that, she's getting all the nutrition she needs. Don't worry about it. But it was a big worry when your toddler won't eat food and it's going on 4 weeks. But yeah, pretty much right at that 4-week mark, she started eating dinner again and eating lunch again. And so yeah, that was another thing coming to America. The other big thing about coming to America, and I keep talking about kids, but I'm a mommy, is all of the stuff there is to do. In Asia, I was constantly creating activities to do with her and being like creative and coming up with things to do. And there was some stuff to do outside, but like I said, it's over 100 degrees out, so not the greatest. But here, there's just so much to do. You can walk to the park. You can, if you don't want to go to the park, okay, go to the indoor park. And where we lived, there was actually an indoor park that babies and kids would use there, and they don't wear diapers there. And so this indoor park was disgusting. So they did take it down because it was so gross, but they don't wear diapers and stuff there, so they can't really have an indoor park. And so even just all these different things that we get here, and some other countries do have that, just the place we lived didn't, but which is kind of shocking that there was always something to do. I didn't have to be as creative. And I'm not going to lie, when I came back to America for the first month or 2 or maybe 3, I was probably the laziest person ever. I was like, there's pizza rolls and food that I can just not cook. And in Asia, everything is from scratch. You want spaghetti? Okay, you go to the market and you buy your 3 pounds of tomatoes and you make yourself spaghetti. Here you go and you buy a jar. And so yeah, I don't think I actually cooked for 3 months because we were just so oh my gosh, there's processed foods. Yeah. And I was pregnant. Okay, so Taco Bell had me singing some hallelujahs. But so yeah, that was our transition to America. And then we had a baby and he's happy as can be. What do you think, buddy? All right, well, I'm going to go. My phone's going to die. My toddler's about to wake up, and I haven't taken a single drink of my coffee. But if you have any questions, like I said, this is the #1 most asked question. But if you have any other questions, leave me a comment down below or ask me sometime if you see me. And I would love to answer them. Bye! not having to... Oh, that's a wasp. Please don't go in the house. Thank you. Well, there was a wasp that almost went into the house and I stopped it and now it's flying around me. Please stop. I love summer. I do. Don't like bugs. And I live in Asia half my life. Well, anyways.